Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Robo, and coming back to you in another RimWorld video here. This is going to be a brief tutorial of the Architect and Work tabs. Perhaps another tab will be added on there if this is a kind of short video. But what I want to do is I want to break down each little individual kind of section, like basically sectionize each of these videos in order to more focus it towards a question you might have. So you don't have to sit through a 30-minute long video trying to scroll through a certain part just to see that, because nobody likes that. So probably gonna have about 3 or 4 videos regarding just kind of the UI and survival and some of the tips that I have here. Let's get right into it. Alright, and if you just joined me from my last video, welcome back to this unique scenario that we're running here. So, like I said, gonna talk about the Architect, all these little subsections, the Work, and maybe the Restrict a little bit here. First thing we're gonna do is, well, I'm just gonna go from what I do from the start here. We just landed, technically, and yep, we made a zone up here. So one of the biggest things to do initially is to get a zone opened up. There we go. Alt tab there for a second. So of course we opened up our zone area here, and all these zones do something, and they're pretty self-explanatory. The snow one is kind of, I mean, obviously you do this and they're going to clear snow. The only thing snow does is, I don't think it modifies their temperature, but it might. But it also slows colonists down. So if you have a path, for example, out to a, I don't know, solar panel or something, you can clear some of that area out. But the most important one, to be honest, is going to be your stockpile zone, like we've created here. And it does exactly what it sounds like. It just stockpiles items. Pretty much all of your items. You can actually click on it here. You can see how it's selected. Copy your settings and paste it if you want to make a new zone that has certain settings that we're going to look at right here in the storage tab. Notice at the top left we got the priority. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's well, for example, if we have these 2 settings and we have this set on normal and another stockpile further away set on low, they will always stock this first and then stock the other one. This is very important if you're trying to make like a freezer, for example. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll pretend like this is enclosed with a cooler. So we're going to go in here, storage. I'm going to go ahead and clear all of these, basically just removing the permissions of what we want in there. We do not want to allow rotten. What we're going to allow is basically foods. So that's going to meals and raw food, which both go bad most of the time. Also, let's see here. Manufactured medicine. Herbal medicine, I believe that does have an expiration date as well, so we'll go ahead and take that as well. And what we'd want to do next is set our priority here to preferred or important. I usually just do one step above whatever we have. And you'll see, well, let me just go ahead and select items, actually resource, manufactured. We'll just do all medicines. So there we go. So we'll see, yep, there they go, they're starting to put the food and whatnot. And that's because it is preferred. If we, of course, make this lower, I'm just kind of beating a dead horse here. But we'll see them run back over here and move everything back. So that's your stockpile tab in a nutshell. There's pretty much no restrictions where you can make a stockpile. Obviously, it needs to be connected, so if I want to like make this zone, it's going to go around this, if that makes any sense. If I delete it, it'll just get rid of this area here. Also, to delete easily, you just do that. Stockpile zones are great, especially if you have an orbital beacon, because, for example, if you make a stockpile zone out here and pretend like this is indoors, you don't want to really keep all of your things out in the rain. So what I usually do is I'll have my stockpile zone pretty close to the door, and I'll have my orbital beacon here. And of course, to trade, you have to have items within the orbital beacon's range. So I'll just go into storage and set it as critical. And we'll see everybody bolt over here real quick, start moving items out there. And that's pretty much an easy way. Of course, is keeping it in here under the roof that we've created last time actually, you know, preserves it, especially with the wood. It will deteriorate. I think it's like 2 per day. Check it right here. Yeah, 2 per day. So 2 HP per day if it's left outside, which is kind of crappy. And then it's like 2 per hour if it's in the rain or something stupid like that. And after we were done with this, we could just go back up to storage, set it to low. And they'll do the reverse, start cooking stuff back. Now, while watching our colonists go back and forth is kind of fun, we should really get on to some other things here. For example, structures. We're going to go ahead and turn on cheater mode here. Go up to options, dev. We're going to turn on God mode so we have all the selections here. You can see pretty much in structures is, like I said last time, a couple walls. When you click this, you will get an option based on what you have in your inventory. Actually, well, based on what you have researched, actually. So you can technically plot down some land or buildings and not have that, which kind of sucks. But yeah, you can just see that. There's also auto doors, which are power doors that open quickly, like basically instantly, which are great, especially for getting in and out of bases quickly. Doors, regular door that you would open. Not much there. The structures. Now production is, holy crap. There's a lot of stuff here. I'm just going to plot down some buildings here and just kind of go through them. A pretty important one early game is going to be your nutrient paste dispenser, and this will make your meals more efficient. Also take note that right here is a hopper. The hopper is very important because it will allow your colonists to load items into it, and you can specify those items up here. What type of, for example, unfertile eggs, fertile, different types, vegetarian or meat, if you want to load it in there, and it'll basically turn that into a meal. This does require 200 watts of power. I think a solar panel provides about 1600, which is, it's not bad. And it's a great way to get a lot of meals early on. We just plop that back down. We can see that there's no bills or anything, no buttons. The colonists will do it ad hoc. Whenever they need it, they'll come over here and get materials, or a meal out of it, actually. The other one up here, very important, it requires a couple research texts, I think. Let's take a look here. Actually, nope. You can research it right off the bat. It takes 700 points. It's a hydroponics basin. And if you pop this down, you can basically grow stuff indoors, anywhere you want. Also take note that in the miscellaneous, you will need a sun lamp. There's some optimal placement that you can do with this. I can't remember what it's like. Yeah, I can't remember. I think you actually rotate it the other way, but you basically need to wire these up. This requires 70 watts per basin as well. If you lose power to it, it will kill all the crops. But it's not really that big of a deal, especially because you can turn this off at night. There's certain mods that will allow you to program power switches, which is pretty awesome, that will automatically turn off at night as well. So you can do that, save that 1600 watts of stinking power that those things require. It's kind of ridiculous, but totally balanced. Some other stuff here. We have a crafting spot. This is just where colonists will make, as it says here, simple things like shivs or bows, kind of like basic weapons and whatnot, more aimed at tribal kind of post-industrial or pre-industrial. We have a sculptor's table. That's what one of your people assigned to art will do. They'll just kind of come here and take materials that you will define. If we plop one down, we can see that you can add a bill for small, large, grand. If we go into details here, we can limit what they want to use. We can also see that, for example, this uses 20 gold. 20 times the amount. It's ridiculous. And we can see that regular is like 70 ingredients, so 70 granite or something like that isn't that big of a deal. But you wouldn't want to use your steel or uranium especially. Use wood, stone blocks, etc. Define that in there if you want to. Next we have the butcher's table, which you can get pretty early on. Pretty important as well. If you go up here, you can actually butcher creatures set to do forever, and your colonists will always take the carcass of dead animals and butcher them. Turn them into meat, basically. I also have a hand tailoring bench, along with the electric version. Both do the same thing. Electric's faster, but here you can build anything from t-shirts to parkas, which are very important, to dusters, different hats, and of course, you know, replacement clothes and whatnot. Again, you can set this up on the bill system, so if we want to make 4 t-shirts, or do until we have 6 t-shirts, then we can set that up. It's kind of cool. Next we have a fueled and electric smithery. Again, kind of like the same thing. This uses wood as its fuel. This uses electric. See here, we can add certain weapons. It seems kind of like medieval age weapons. We got like spears and knives, long swords. So this is kind of like your more iron forged weapons and whatnot, not necessarily gunpowder weapons. Plop down the machinery table here. We can see that this is definitely the tier 3 out of those 3 different benches of items. So we can make anything from shotguns, PDWs, LMGs, different helmets, artillery shells for mortars, and we can also take note that we can also disassemble mechanoids. So this is kind of like butchering mechanoids. So you can always set that to do forever. Next, we have a fueled and electric stove. These things will make different types of meals that you define in the build system. So fueled stove's pretty easy to get on the start. Electric doesn't cost that much either, but we can do anything from simple to lavish meals. And we can take a look here that this requires only 0.5 nutrition of meat and vegetarian. It does require both, so you're gonna have to kill some animals. The lavish is significantly higher. It's 14 work amount. Same type of item, so which is kind of nice. So we'll go ahead and close that down. Next we have a stonecutter's table. Here we can just make stone blocks basically. I've seen a mod that will actually allow you to define what type of stone blocks you want to make, but this one is just over-encompassing. So any rubble that you see around, like right here we have some limestone chunks, granite, limestone. Looks like limestone and granite are the 2 big ones here. This map. Yep. So those are you'll basically get limestone and granite blocks. Use the mod if you want to. It's not necessary, but kind of nice, helpful. Next we got the brewery, which does exactly what you think. Brew stuff out of hops that you can grow. It does require research in order to make it work. We have a electric smeltery, sorry. And that's just where you can take slag metal, both from weapons and slag, and make metal out of it. So you can kind of repurpose that. Next we have a rather large one, which is the component assembly bench. And this just makes components out of certain items. Let's take a look here. Basically steel. So you can take your steel and make components, which are very important. Pretty much everything high-tech uses components. This uses 30. Smelter uses 2. Simple research bench actually doesn't use any, but the high-tech does use 10. And we're getting on to the research benches. You have your Tech 1 or Tier 1, Tier 2 here. Just opens up new items. As you can see down here, we can research some new stuff because we have the Tier 2. Now we can't. And lastly, we have something that is very important, the electric crematorium. And this is great for getting rid of bodies because you're going to kill a lot of people probably. This is also great for burning up just apparel that you wouldn't use anyways. Fortunately you can't break that down and use the fabric out of it. So what you can do is set do forever. You go into the details here and modify the hit points that you want to kind of burn. You can also set the quality. So maybe if you want to burn everything that is normal quality and below, you can just do this here. Or if you want to burn stuff that has 25 hit points or below, then boom. And basically you burn everything up. Now that was kind of long-winded, but that was pretty much all the production items. Furniture doesn't really require that much explanation here. We have different types of beds. I will note that the hospital bed will give you a pretty big boost to different medical procedures. As you can see here, medical treatment quality factor is 104%. You also gain immunity quicker if you're in one of these beds. So that's always great to build. It does only require 120 steel, but it does require 10 medicine, which you have to trade to get, so keep that in mind. We also have beds and double beds. Big thing here is if you have a double bed for all your colonists, if they get in relationships, they can do naughty things with others, which is a good mood booster. Up here we have the equipment rack. This is mainly for storing weapons. I think you can also store armor. Let's just take a look here. This, again, has the storage button. You actually are able to store different apparel if you want to, and you can store artillery shells, so that's kind of cool. It's basically just for military items only. We also have animal sleeping spots. We have the regular just plop it down anywhere spot, all the way up to the comfy looking bed here that I would probably sleep in if I had to. Have different chairs, armchair. Usually things that cost more will always give bigger boost to mood or comfort. We have different tables, which colonists love to sit down and eat food on tables. We have plants, which colonists also love. If you put one in a room, it gives like plus 30 to the beauty, which is kind of crazy. And when they plant them, it gives them a boost. We also have, very important, the torch lamp, which if we just click on here, it lasts basically 20 days, so season in 5 days, which is really great. Only costs 20 wood to maintain one of these, and it's really good for kind of just throwing in mined out bases, especially like boom, just kind of lights it up, gives a great mood boost, reduces the darkness penalty. And then we have all the different standing lamps. I believe the colors might have something to do with what someone's favorite color is. It used to be like that. I'm not sure if it's like that anymore. It doesn't look like it is. Looks like they don't care what color it is. So that's just for decoration. Next we have power. This is pretty simple as well. We have solar panels, only work in the day, produce a maximum of, I think it's either 1600 or 1700 watts. Also have a wind turbine, which you can actually plop down and have it work over a solar panel, but anything within this zone here, like these trees, will actually block it. We can see it's blocked by popular tree. Take a look here and see that the maximum power. And we can see that the maximum power is anywhere, I think it's about 2600, 2500. Might just be 2000. Fortunately, there's no way to really check this in game, so just kind of have to play it by ear at this point. We also have a geothermal generator, which if we zoom out here and look around, like right here, there's these steam geysers that are naturally occurring. All I have to do is just plop one of these down. Generates a static 3600 watts of power constantly. And we can see we have a battery running off of this, storing quite a bit of power that is excess. Next thing we have is a fuel generator, which uses wood. It's a good starting option. Next we have a power switch, which does exactly what you think it does. All I had to do is click that. Of course, it tells me that someone needs to run over there and flick the button, boop, like that, it'll disconnect it. Again, there is a mod on the Steam Workshop that makes it possible to research having these turn on and off if someone's in the room, or having this turn on and off if there's hostiles, what time it is, and I think there may be another option in there, but I can't remember to be honest. Next we have is security. The first thing you're going to start out with is sandbags. These are going to provide excellent cover from gunfire. Let's see if we can take a look here. Actually, it does not tell, but it does have 450 hit points. It does give you quite a bit of cover from gunfire as well. Next thing you'll probably get is improvised turrets. These things are kind of hit and miss sometimes. A lot of them are good. However, when they're damaged, like I'm about to do right here, let's damage. Oh, okay. Let's 10 damage. We can watch what happens. Oh, well, that's stupid. Well, they basically do this. That's exactly what they do. They explode, damaging stuff from what it looks like 100 damage. So kind of be careful when you have these. As you can see, I think that did about a 4. So actually this placement was alright. We do this. Yeah, so cool. That wouldn't be damaged. So just keep them, looks like 3 spaces apart. You should be fine. These do require power, and you might as well turn them off if no one's attacking. You can also research IED traps as your time comes. Does exactly what you think it does. Explodes with a bomb or incendiary if you want to. Deadfall traps. When someone runs over them, it just falls over and damages them. So you can kind of put these down hallways and whatnot. These are pretty much free. You can always auto rearm them as well if you want to. Colonists will just run up and arm them. I think small game will also run into it. I haven't tested that out, but that'd be kind of cool. So, onto the miscellaneous. This is exactly what it sounds like, just a bunch of random stuff. We have the ever-important sun lamp for growing crops indoors. So you can see that thing's bright as crap. We have the orbital trade beacon that I was talking about earlier, that you're going to need to make a stockpile around, which have a fantastic little button here to auto-make a stockpile. And this has to be in open air. This can't be indoors. But if you knock the roof down, it can work that way as well. Be careful because these do lure pirates, and they'll drop down and drop pods on top of that sometimes. Next we have the comms console, which goes in pair with this, the orbital trade beacon as well. Also works to talk with some of the local tribes. So if we talk to the Mesa, I can actually increase their goodwill by cheating. See here, you can only get up to 300. We can also give them a gift, which is 300 silver each, and that basically gives them more goodwill. And if we want to, we can ask them for help, which is really cool if you have a massive raid. So you can see that they're coming here now. So that's great. We go back into the menu here. You can see this is the multi-analyzer. This goes with the research benches. So I blew up the advanced one, but this goes with one of the advanced ones. Requires quite a bit. It is a prereq for some of the different things you need to research, so you may have to build that and then you can research it. Next we have the tool cabinet. I actually skipped this, but I'll go back to it in a second. The tool cabinet will increase the speed of certain tables. I think it's one of these will do 2. Yep. So you can actually have 2 of these, and they will increase this by, well, 2 times whatever the effectiveness of that is. Next we have the vitals monitor. This will go next to a hospital bed. It does take power, but it does increase the quality of care and recovery rates of wounds and stuff, so that's really awesome to have as well in your med bays. Next we have the fire foam popper. This thing's kind of crazy. It looks like it would mess you up, but it doesn't, surprisingly. So if we just do an explosion for flames, you'll see this thing pop just like that, and it'll do a area effect. So if I put one like right here, it wouldn't do this. Basically just does this effect. So we blow some trees up here. Oh no, I actually caught a rat on fire there. They'll just explode like this and pretty much clear the entire area. Kind of nice, great to put in between walls in case you have raiders trying to catch your shit on fire. Next we have a moisture pump. So if we zoom out here and look for any moisture, like that, all you have to do is power this thing and it will start moving. Let's click this a bajillion times. You can see how it's starting to, well, it should suck water, but for some reason it's not. Strange debug. So yeah, that'll remove water. It's great for kind of reclaiming land for your base. Next we have graves, which is really good for burying the dead, which prevents pretty much any of your guys from seeing dead bodies that are rotting on the ground. You have sarcophagi. That's for your colonists if you want to. I think gives a positive mood bonus. Next we have the crypto sleep casket. Haven't really played around with this thing too much. It costs like 5 uranium, which is kind of a lot, so don't necessarily want to use that too much. But this can be pretty nifty. You can basically just put anyone in there, and it's great, especially during a fight, if you do not have any doctors and able to, perform medical treatment on them. You can basically throw these people in here and suspend them. Just keep in mind, if you put all of your colonists in here, they will actually end the game for you, unless someone comes along and happens to open them. And lastly, we have the marriage and party spots. These are just defining areas to do both. Next for the floors, just multiple different types of floors. I don't want to go too long into this. It's already been 24 minutes, so let's not get into that. Next we have the joy tab. So things will start out with horseshoes and chess tables. You'll also be able to build the billiards table, but you probably won't have any cloth, so can't do that just yet. This increases the colonist joy. So under needs, you can see the joy here. Right now she's at above what it looks like 70%, so getting a 5% bonus, or plus 5 bonus to her mood, which is great. So I'm assuming that gives a plus 10 as well, if you get that maximum there. The only one you won't have is the tube television, which I don't know why we don't have like LCDs. This is the future. You can see here. Basically just put a couch and I can sit there and watch it and be like Americans or something. I don't know. Next is going to be your ship. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically need to arrange these and then get the heck off the planet. And lastly, we have all the important temperature If you start out, you can build a campfire and then close something off, and it will keep a room pretty hot if you want to. But later game, you can build heaters. You can also build coolers, like I was talking about. So if we speed up here, if you look right down here, well, of course, I don't have any power here. That's stupid. But this would cool this room down. Vents will actually equalize the temp. Seen a mod that allows you to close vents, which is great for like the summertime where you can open them or close them and kind of cool down rooms and whatnot if you want to. So anyways, that was all of the architect items. I do realize I tried to say I'd keep this under 10 minutes, but obviously this didn't happen. Next time we'll talk about work, and we'll just run down the line, and I'll probably group some of these together, like statistics, history, world, factions can probably all be one. Animals and assign or restrict can probably all be one as well. But next time we'll get a little bit more into the work tab here. Anyways, my name's been Robo. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. See ya.